Jack it up. Jack it up.
Morning to one and all present here. On behalf of PDPU Innovation and Incubation Center, I, Samad Shah, intern PDPU IIC, would like to welcome all the attendees and faculty members to today's webinar on design thinking in energy sector. Our esteemed speaker for the session is Dr. Chintamani. Dr. Chintamani is the founder of Jigyanshika. He is a design thinking evangelist and helps the individual innovators and corporate organizations to improve their problem-solving capabilities to increase their profits. He has 30 plus years of experience covering hardcore plant operations and IT services. He delivers keynote speeches conducts workshops on design thinking, mind mapping, power of creativity, and public speaking skills. We are honored to have you with us, sir. Without further ado, I would request, sir, to please take over.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. I think nice to see a large gathering on a Saturday morning, and I understand that you are all keen to know about this new subject called design thinking. So the word design thinking has become a buzzword in the last few years. Whenever people talk about innovation, creativity, digital transformation, then automatically people also talk about design thinking. So today, the next 1.5 hours or 2 hours, we are going to understand the 5W and the 1H, 5 wives and one husband, right? About design thinking. What are the 5 wives? What, when, where, why, and then finally how part of it. So design thinking is a concept, so it has to be conducted in a workshop for longer duration, and then finally it has to be implemented. But this whole session is all about giving some kind of awareness. So within 2 hours, we will only understand the overview of it, and if we have to implement it, we cannot implement in full. So we may have implement only in pockets. So with that disclaimer, let me start this session. So we will only get an idea about how these different concepts of design thinking, different components of design thinking. And why at all we talk about design thinking in the recent times. So design thinking is all about innovation, ideas, and empathy kind of stuff. I'll elaborate about the 5-step process. But the main idea is today technology has become so powerful. So under one single gamut called digital technology, we talk about mobility, we talk about analytics, we talk about cloud, security, social media, whatnot, including drones and kind of stuff. So all those technologies are bucketed under this digital technology, and the technology has become very, very powerful. But only when you identify the right use case, you will be able to leverage the technology. For example, all of us know the power of big data, but only when you find out the right use case and provide with the right data, then only you will be trying to find a solution for your vertical, whether it is manufacturing, oil and gas, or retail. So let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So since I'm showcasing the screen, full screen, I may not be in a position to go through all the chat windows. So if the moderator, if any critical questions are there, you can ask me to pass, and the moderator can pass on the question to me. Otherwise, I'll take all the questions a little later.
We'll take care of the chat box.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Right. So this is going to be the agenda. Why design thinking? What is design thinking? Understand the 5-step process, real-time application, and the structured way of innovation, and what are all the tools available for them. So as I mentioned, today the technology has become powerful. In fact, we are not yet leveraged the power of software and hardware. We have to identify the right use cases. So technology guys are there and the business guys are there. But we need another person to marry these two, right? So people like you, people with a domain background who are called business analysts, or who are going to take up the role of business analyst. Since you understand the domain, you go and talk to the technology guys, what need to be done. So similarly, you take the inputs from the technology guys and then tell the customers what are the limitations or what are the capabilities. So who are attending the session, so whether you are from the oil and gas background or the business school background, so if you want to be leverage this design thinking concept, then you have to understand both domain as well as technology at a high level. Then understand the finer principles of the design thinking. So this is the guy who has played a key role in design thinking. Before I talk to Tim Brown, and let me give a quick overview or history about design thinking. So design thinking, many people think that this is a very new concept, but literally This is not a very new concept. This kind of concept was there for several decades. Even in fact, way back in 60s, people started manufacturing. They kept the customer in mind. They thought about customer in mind, thinking. So remember the word. They design products thinking about the customer in mind and design certain things. For example, if a person has to design this mouse has to have all the functional features. For example, when I do the right click, it has to perform certain activities. When I click the left button, it has to perform certain details, and then I'll also have some wheel. So these are all the functional features. Then whether I need to have it wireless or wired one, that is a different choice. Finally, it has to be very compact within the hands of the user, and it has to be ergonomically designed. Right? Sometimes even you find some slight variations because they thought that they want to make it more user friendly kind of stuff. So this is where the concept of design thinking got originated, where the product manufacturing companies started applying design, keeping the customer in mind. So that is what the history of design thinking. But later in 70s, people like the architects, city planners, they started using design thinking, keeping the same kind of end customer in mind. Finally, around the 90s, there are two organizations. One called IDEO. Not sure whether someone has covered about this organization in the previous webinars, series of webinars when they talk about innovation and other stuff. This IDEO organization as well as D School of the Stanford University. Like B School, they had D School. D School stands for Design School. These two organizations, they thought design thinking need not be limited to products like this or even landscape designing or architectural kind of stuff. Can be applied anywhere, including processes or services, as long as it involves people. And then finally, this person, Tim Brown, who played a key role, one of the directors of IDEO, he came out with this definition. He said, design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of the people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. Lengthy definition, difficult to by heart. But let us see the keywords. Human-centered approach. Design thinking is not just a mere innovation or creativity. It is all about people, surrounded by people's needs, and it's a human-centered approach. When I say human-centered, obviously empathy will be a key factor. Then needs of the people. Then the third one is possibility of technology. So earlier, maybe 10 years back, we were not having enough technology. People were having problems, their challenge statements were there, pain areas were there, but we were not having enough technology. But today, technology has taken a leapfrog and it has taken new dimension. But we need to identify the right use case and apply the technology so that the pain areas of people can be sorted out. It need not be limited to your customer. It can be customer also, all stakeholders. Then why design thinking now? Now design thinking, generally people have a feeling that innovation is possible only for a group of people. It is the prerogative of genius minds. So those kind of mindsets were there. But design thinking helps you to come out with innovation with anyone as long as they follow some process. I would not say process because when I say process, then probably it may be a block for innovation. Innovation means when you in a systematic way, if you continuously think on using a process, then probably it may be a block for innovation. So I would put an alternate word. If you, as long as you follow certain techniques, innovation is possible for anyone, as long as they understand the different techniques. And this design thinking approach encourages divergent thinking, and primarily creative mindset takes over critical mindset. Okay, now you can all interact through chat window and then give me some answer. What is commonality between these four companies? I'm not sure whether again this is a standard slide used by people who are talking about innovation. digital transformation, etc. Whether you know or not, if you don't know, you can make a guess. If you already know the answer, you can use the chat window. So what is the commonality between all these companies? So is someone typing in the chat window? Or you can even unmute and give your answer if that option is available.
Sir, they are using the chat box.
Okay, using technology, innovation leaders, right? Connected to people, they are all middlemen. Okay, solutions to some problem. Neil Kant, can you elaborate your answer? They're all middlemen. What do you mean? Right. Okay, let me elaborate. So rather I'll put a different term. So
Yeah,
they
so
are all.
sir, I was saying that.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, so I was saying that they are only providing a platform to provide a service for the customers which are not related to them. They are only providing a platform to the seller and to the customer to meet at the same place.
Exactly, exactly. For example, Uber does not own any of the fleet, and Facebook does not own the content. Alibaba does not own any of the material or inventory. Airbnb does not own real. Was I on mute? Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So exactly, Neil, they are platform providers. For example, Uber does not own vehicle, Facebook does not own any content, Alibaba does not own any inventory, Airbnb does not own real estate. They only provide platform, but imagine the kind of satisfaction they are providing to their customers. Sometime back, maybe when my children were in school going, when I asked them to take an auto for their coaching classes, they never take an auto. Any guess why?
We
So
have
they
to
never.
bargain.
Huh?
We have to bargain with the auto guys.
Exactly, right? You know how notorious these auto people are, and they don't know what will be the approximate fare for a particular destination, and they have to bargain. And even if the auto person is charging the what is that the right fees, they may be under the impression that he is overcharging. So, and being youngsters, they were totally scared. And rather, they would like to take a lift from any of their friends, or they will rather use mass transport like a bus or walk down. So, and this was a problem for many of us. So, not only children, even old people, when they lose respect, their self-respect in the name of bargaining, they got offended, and they were not keen in going by auto. But at the same time, taxis were also a little costly. But that is where the players like Uber started coming in, and then we had our own Indian version of Uber, which is Ola, and then Ola Taxi, Ola Auto, everything started coming in. Now, anyone, everyone, so you don't have to open your mouth. All you have to do is take out your mobile and then book a cab. And once the destination is keyed in, then guy will come and stand in front of you within 5 minutes or 10 minutes max. And all you have to do is just to get in. And once the destination is reached, then automatically you don't have to open your mouth at all. So of course we may lose human interaction to some extent, but people are happy. Their pain areas are taken care. That is where Uber started leveraging this kind of scenario. They started using the right technology to address a use case. Yeah, address a use cases to give convenience to the two-wheeler or four-wheeler riders, but they leverage all kind of technologies. So if you take Uber, the mobile device is the interface, and of course at the back end they have a huge big data engine running, because every day so many people are what is that, taking their service, all the customer details, all their fleet operators details. Then real time you are supposed to show the map for which they use the JIS technology, Geographical Information System, the geospatial technologies. Then what else? Finally, the entire application need to be foolproof. Then cyber security need to be taken care. And such a vast data, they have to put it in cloud so that at any point of time, the cloud will take care of the elasticity of it. So as and when the volume grows up, immediately the additional servers will be looped in. So they try to leverage technologies to address, solve the problem. To solve the problem, the first thing that was there in mind was understand and appreciate the customer pain area. So same is the case like Facebook. Everyone wanted to interact with their old friends, relatives, but they were not having enough proper platform. Facebook thought about platform and they tried to leverage all kind of technologies and then brought the platform. Today, even you can use Facebook app in your mobile. You don't have to go to your desktop. Alibaba, same kind of concept. So today, most of these technology companies, they have surpassed the oil and gas majors. So if you go and find out the Fortune 500 companies earlier, 5 years or 10 years back, so the top leading companies will be generally oil and gas companies like Exxon Mobil, Chevron, BPs of the world. But today technology companies are surpassing them because they have huge database and they are addressing the pain areas of global stakeholders which are running into millions and millions of people. Let me move on. So primarily, we are moving from a ownership-based economy to usage-based economy. So most of the solutions are ownership-based, usage-based economy. So pay as you use. You don't have to, even if you go to an oil and gas company, no more people are using asset management software as a standalone version. It is not implemented in the company's server. It is put in a SAP server and SAP is asking the customer to use it and make the payment as they use. SAP plant module, everything, all technology companies, they have come out with a cloud version. So as long as you use, so this is advantage for even small time companies. Otherwise, small time companies were paying, they have to pay huge money on license. So because of the prohibitive license cost, they were unable to leverage the technology. But today, usage-based economy. And what is the major difference between these two economies? Ownership-based economy, efficiency and productivity were the key elements. While usage-based economy, customer experience and agility are vital. You have to be so fast. You have to be really fast. And customer experience, how the customer is projecting you in the social media platform or their kith and kin and the network, that is going to matter a lot. So in fact, I was part of a technology organization. The tagline of the company was Connected World, Connected Solutions, maybe 8 years or 10 years back. So when everyone was trying to jump into these digital solutions, at that time their tagline was Connected World, Connected Solutions. And later, after 3 or 4 years, one consultant came in, maybe McKinsey or someone came in and then asked them to change the tagline to Connected World and Connected Experience. So they dropped that connected solutions, rather now it was replaced by connected solutions. And this has to be changed everywhere in our business cards, all letterheads, website portals, everywhere we have to change this. Obviously, it means several thousands of dollars, right? So if you put together all the time and effort involved in that. But what does it mean? So the emphasis was on experience because the company felt, the corporate felt that experience we cannot ignore, even if it is going to cost several thousands of dollars. We want to give a different kind of perspective to our customer, connected world and connected experience. That customer experience is going to matter a lot. And today, if you see this digital technologies, digital transformation or design thinking is quite possible by a lot of startup companies. Why? The reason is the startup companies are small and from top till at the end level. So hardly you will have 30 to 50 people. 30 to 50 people, but they are all in mind, they are all aligned. So in fact, even during the recruitment process, they ensure that people with the right attitude, can everyone go on mute? I'm hearing a lot of background. So they try to align the entire workforce, starting from the CEO till the lowermost employee. That's why they are able to come out. And again, the performance matters a lot. So obviously, the salary at startup companies are 2 times, 3 times rather than a conventional companies. Whereas conventional companies, they are established over a period of time, but still they are struggling to uh, have the mindset of startups. So that's why even in big corporates, they are giving huge emphasis on design thinking, digital transformation, entrepreneurial mindset. So they continuously take training, and that is the kind of mindset DNA they want to bring in. So if you have any questions, please you can ask me to pass. I can answer your questions. Any questions so far? Okay. So you feel the chat box is hindering you? Okay. And who are all using it? So most of the technology companies, most of the Fortune 500 companies like Google, IBM, Amazon, Coca-Cola, Airbnb, Netflix, Apple may not be fully across the organization, but at least the considerable portion of their verticals they are using design thinking concepts. Okay, so now design thinking is a concept by which you can approach a problem. So generally every projects are keeping the customer in mind, and the customer is giving some kind of requirements. So whether it is an IT project or a service project, you have a customer and the customer has got some problem and you are trying to solve it either by coming out with a product or a service or an IT solution, right? So for such kind of problems, so your conventional way you can continue. But design thinking is more relevant for wicked problems. Any guess when I meant a wicked problem, what it is? Any idea? Can you make a guess? What is wicked problem? So if you are using chat window, I request the moderator to spell out the answer.
Yes, sir, I'll keep in.
Wicked problem, have you heard about it, or can you make a guess right now from the context of design thinking and innovation? Okay, no problem. If you don't know, it's okay. Let me give. Wicked problems are problems which are very vague in nature, which has got lot of complexity. Even the customer does not know what is the intensity of the problem. They know they have some problem, but they don't know what it is. And as a service provider, you also know that the customer is having problem, but you don't know what is the right solution. So that is what known as wicked problem. And wicked problem, even if you take an organization, the intensity of the problem will be varying geography to geography. So one of the latest and the most commonest example I can give you is the current corona problem. So corona, we all know that there is a problem and everyone is trying to work on it, but we don't know what is the intensity of the problem, how long this COVID situation will be remaining. And again, if you say each country has got their own intensity level, some people are able to identify the problem, but they don't know how to treat them. But some people are not able to identify, but they treat them properly. So if you see the different kind of metrics associated with the corona, it will be totally different from each geography to geography. So which means one single solution may not be fitting the every location. So, and if you go ask and talk to people who are involved in this problem, each one will come out with their own definition. So even among the medical community, each one will say that this is because of man-made virus. Someone will say, no, this has come from the animal food or non-vegetarian food or something like that. Each one will come out, and you cannot take it for the face value. So you have to address this problem. You have to thoroughly understand your customers and thoroughly talk to all the people, and with a full empathy mindset, you have to do that, right? So design, this is a definition given by a person called John Calco. He says design is a way of organizing complexity or finding clarity in chaos, right? We know, for example, people who are very good in articulating a particular concept, even to a lay person, will be a person who completely understand the subject. To completely understand the subject from different perspective, for example, 360-degree view of it, then you will be able to explain it to different stakeholders in the simplest language. So that is what we are trying to say here. In design thinking problem, you have to understand the customer's problem thoroughly before jumping into solution. So that is the way, that is the only way where you will get absolute clarity. Let us try to understand. Okay, I'll skip this. These are all some of the 8 design abilities of the Stanford School. Okay. Now I'll straight away jump into this 5-step process. This is very, very vital slide. I'm sorry about that number. Last number has not changed to 5. So this, as I said earlier, Stanford has come out with the design thinking. So though this process was there, they give a shape and they come out with the framework, 5-step framework, starting from empathy, definition, ideation, prototyping, and testing. What do we mean by that? So the very first step is you have to understand the customer pain area. Without understanding the customer pain area, you are not supposed to come out with product or solution. So we many times people say that Apple has not come out with their products based on market demand. No, at least they thought themselves as the customer, and then they come out with they have internally done a lot of research and interview, and then finally understood what all the customers are expecting, and then finally came to the market. So otherwise you will be developing a solution for the sake of it. For example, when we talk about startups, so we only talk about successful startups. So if I talk about 4 or 5 startups, actually there are 95 startups which have failed. The reason is those startups have also come out with innovative solutions, but they never did the market research. They never prioritize customer pain areas. Just they want to leverage technologies. So even today in most of the organization, people talk about technology without talking about the business problem. Without business problem, you cannot connect with your customer. So that is where the first step of empathy is coming into mind. And the empathy is the first step where, for example, now I have an organization, I want to go and do design thinking for my customer. I have to go with a team. And I will not go as an individual and do this empathy interview. So the empathy interview is a process where I'll take sufficient time to interact with the customer and all stakeholders. And I'll not go alone, because when I go alone, I'll get only my perspective. But when I go as a team, we'll get multiple perspective. I'll take a finance person, I'll take a sales person, and the team composition should be heterogeneous. When I was part of the corporate, we were doing a 2 days workshop. So 2 days workshop, the entire team was divided into 5-6 teams. I was part of one particular team. Our problem was to address the problem areas pertaining to employee bus transport, their transport. So what we have done is we formed a group of 5 or 6 people, and then we started we started doing interview with all the stakeholders. Any idea who all we interviewed to understand the problem statement? Who all we interviewed? Any guess? I need some kind of response. So transport problem, bus driver, cool, right, on dot, bus driver, who else? Employees who are availing the bus service, great. 2, then okay, conductors. Okay, so there were not conductors, they had cleaners. Rather, one of the employees would be chosen as their route champion. This route champion will be the single point of contact. He will behave like a conductor. But suppose all of a sudden the bus need to be stopped somewhere, the route champion has to take the decision. So we talk to the route champion, then we talk to the admin guy who was responsible for the transport department. Then we talk to different such kind of stakeholders to get a holistic view. So only on the day we come to know that there is one of our team, one of our employees is behaving like a route champion in a bus. So till the time we were not aware. So we thought only drivers are there and they are bringing the employees. and each one came out with their own version, their problem statement. And then the entire this empathy interview took almost 2 to 3 hours. But in reality, when I do design thinking, it will go for few days to even 1 week. At the end of this particular interview, I collect a lot of problem statements, and what we will try to do is we will start. It's very difficult to come out with solution for all their problem areas. So we cannot boil the ocean. We have to cherry pick the key problem areas. So for example, 2 or 3 key problem areas will be there. When I try to resolve it, almost 80 to 90% of the pain areas will be drastically taken care. So employees delight index will go up when I address 1 or 2 key problem areas. To understand that, we get into the next phase known as a definition phase. The definition phase, what we try to do is each of our empathy interview holders, they comment, and during the empathy interview process, we'll also note down the body language of the customer, and we'll also see the surroundings, what is going on. And we make our own interpretations like what is the mood of the customer? What does the customer think? What does the customer say? He will say something, but he'll be thinking something else. From his body language or the way how he is interacting with his own team members, of course, ours will be interpretation. Everything may not be right, but all that we will try to jot down in a post-it. Post-it, all of you know, right? The small tab, colorful tab. Each one of us will do that, and then we will come and put it in a board which is known as an empathy map. In the empathy map, we will try to do analysis, we do brainstorming, and then finally boil down to 2 or 3 problem areas. This is known as definition. Of course, I will be repeating these points in the next few slides, but I want to keep this slide and talk because this is the very important slide. And once you understand the top 2 or 3 problem statement, then you will start doing innovation, ideate, right? Ideation is coming out with innovative ideas. So what are all the different techniques that can be used for coming out with innovative ideas? At least one example, can you give me? How the ideation or innovation would be possible?
OYO.
What is OYO? I'm unable to see the chat window. Has anyone responded?
OYO is a good example of that.
No, I'm not talking about example. How can you formally come out with innovative ideas? So now you have went for empathy interview, you identify 100 problem statements, out of which you have done analysis and figured 2 important problems. Now, after understanding 2 problems, now you have to come out with ideas. How can you come out with ideas? Is there any formal way, or all of a sudden we have to go and sit under the banyan tree or a people tree and get gyan? Is there any way to come out with hypothesis? Okay, good. What else?
Addition or subtraction of the existing idea.
Okay, can you be a little clear? I could not hear you properly.
Addition or subtraction of the existing area to make new ideas.
Okay, addition or subtraction of the existing ideas. Either you build add-on or to do some kind of modification in the existing ideas. Okay, right. Okay, so there are multiple ideas. I'll come to that a little later. Then the 4th and important step is prototype. So mere what is that? Exchange of thoughts alone may not be sufficient. We have to come out with some demonstrable stuff. For example, so after understanding all that, I have to come out with a prototype rather than sending a PPT or a Word document, right? That will not reveal that is not going to give the confidence for the customer. You have to come out with a prototype. The prototype can be done using cardboard boxes, physical prototype, or sheet metal, or it can be using thermocol, like how school children do their project in their school exhibition. You can use any material, or if it is an IT solution or mobile solution, you can do the prototype using HTML wireframe. It need not be a full-fledged. So the look and feel and how the simple navigation is going to happen, you have to come out with a prototype. Once you have the prototype, the customer will understand that you have understood the problem. Yes, now I understand. I thought you are an IT company, but now I know that you are also, you have complete understanding about my oil and gas value chain, upstream, midstream, downstream. You know everything, and you know what is meant by gross refining margin, what is net refining margin, everything you understood. That's what it is getting reflected in the prototype. Now I have confidence. Not only it is exhibiting your domain knowledge, it is also giving a clue. It is also giving a clue that you know how to apply the technology. Maybe some shortcomings or limitations may be there, but at a high level, it gives a confidence. And many a times, customer also will be saying that no. I think you have spent 3 days doing empathy interview with us, but you are totally mistaken our problem statement. What we meant was A, but you understood B. And what you have delivered is C, but what we want is D, right? So that is where prototype is playing a crucial role. That is trying to minimize the impact on the last minute surprises. And the last step is testing. Customer has to go through that prototype and give feedback. Fourth step is you develop the prototype. Last step is the feedback given by the customers. So if these two activities are not happening, many times a lot of IT projects are failed. Not only IT projects, many other projects have also failed because the complete solution was delivered at the end of 8 months or 12 months, and customer will keep his hands on his head saying, my God, this guy has totally misunderstood and all my investments have gone waste. And they will be in a precarious position. They cannot hand over the project to another party. They have to somehow manage. They have to come and give a new requirements and ask you to rework on it. So it is going to be waste of time for everyone. So that is where these steps are important. Now, is it clear, the 5-step process? This is a very important aspect. So whenever you tell someone that you have undergone design thinking, the first question they are going to ask is, what are the 5 steps? And if you are planning to attend an interview, saying that you know a little bit of design thinking, so the questions will revolve around the 5-step process. So is this clear? Can we move on? Or you have any question? Shall we move on? Okay. So as I said, during the empathy interview process, you are supposed to go without any prejudice, without any assumption, right? So you should not, on the first day of interview, no, I'm going to meet the line managers. The line managers will always be busy and they will not cooperate with me, and they lack communication skills. Something like that. That kind of mindset, with that kind of mindset, you are not supposed to go. You have to go with absolute clear, the clear mindset, like a child. Clean slate. With clean slate, you have to go. Yeah. Okay. Someone, Arvind, yes, on behalf of every participant, I'll take the word from Arvind. Okay. Now let me quickly run through a case study, 2 case studies. Now then you have to let me know what are all the 5 process, or I'll ask the question little later. I'll resume my questions later. So this is a case study called Becky's case study. Just audible?
The cat was not yet out of the bag. I expected Linda would have already put the cat out of the bag. But I'm going to pull it out of my pocket. And that is this. Have you ever thought you can eat a spoon? You can eat a... This is in response to the fact that change is inevitable. And we're suffering too much of changes in our life. One change is a lot of plastic. And I created this edible cutlery as an alternative to plastic disposable cutlery. And I want to say that through this story, through this journey, I want you to take through what I have actually done in order to achieve this. And the change that I was trying to address is the water scarcity. I come from India, and in India, more than half of our nation is reeling under severe groundwater scarcity conditions, groundwater depletion in terms of quality and in quantity. Edible cutlery and groundwater depletion, what is the connection? That's what I'm going to talk to you about now. I've been looking at why is groundwater depleting. Is it because the rains were lesser, because recharge of groundwater happens only with rainwater? But I found that over the 5-year average, moving average, I found that long-term data shows there's no significant change in the total precipitation. That means the rainfall is almost constant. Then why is groundwater depleting? Then I realized that the groundwater lifting is mostly done by the farmers, and they are moving into unsustainable agriculture. The moment the farmer strikes groundwater, he is shifting from dryland crops like millets, which is taking a downward trend, and is replacing it with water-guzzling rice. To give you an idea of what it means, 1 acre of rice, not cultivated, the water saved can support 60 acres of millets. In other words, if you look at it conversely, 1 acre of millet, which is being replaced by rice, water extraction is going up 60 times or 6,000%. And this, in my opinion, is a sheer waste of natural resources. I say this because over the years, we are looking at a steady, constant...
I'll forward it because this is a lengthy video, so I'll quickly forward it due to paucity of time.
Rockets demand in the market. The beauty about millets is they are a spoon. You add lemon on it and you got a lemon spoon. We thought, hey, this is flowers. Why can't I make it something more exciting? So I added salt and pepper, and that was a spoon I ate. You can add sugar, and you got sweet spoons. You add vanilla, you got a vanilla spoon. You add lemon on it, and you got a lemon spoon. And you got ginger, cinnamon, ginger, garlic, and I started getting too adventurous. Suddenly, I can imagine how wearing a chef cap.
I'll take a pause here, so I'll not play it. If you want, you can go through this in YouTube. Bakey's case study. So primarily this case, Narayana Pesapati, he started empathizing on the environment, why people are cultivating so much of rice, why people are not cultivating millets. That is one. Then he also thought about the plastic spoons. Whenever he visited canteen, cafeteria, he found that the plastic spoons, either they are brittle or sometimes they already add oil, means some of the used spoons are being used in restaurants. And to overcome all the problem, then he came out with this edible spoon. So the edible spoons made out of millets with a different kind of flavors, right? So he started empathizing on some problem statement with the society as well as the end customer in a restaurant. Then finally came out with innovation. So if you go through this case study, you will see all the different components of the design thinking in mind. So let me quickly move on to the next case study. Chotucool. Chotucool is a product from Godrej. So now you quickly watch through this. This is not a lengthy video. At the end, I'll ask a couple of questions.
Only 8% of rural India had access to refrigerators. This statistic led to the innovation of Chotucool, Godrej's mini refrigerator that runs on electricity as well as battery. Chotucool is the poster boy for disruptive innovation in India. Like email disrupted the existing market for postal mail, Chotucool has revolutionized food preservation for low-income households.
India, a country where 1/3 of the total food produced in India is spoiled. An urgent need to nip this alarming number was identified in 2006. And as they say, where there is a need, there is an innovation. In a country where 80% of the people have no access to simple refrigeration, a concept so ordinary in today's urban homes, Godrej introduced Chotucool. A low-cost, low-energy refrigerator to provide the comfort of cooling to the sun-scorched households of rural India.
we started understanding non-consumers, basically people who are non-users of refrigerator, and started understanding their life, their living pattern, in their habitat, in their surroundings and all that. And it came out that there were 2-3 things which we looked at. One is what are the barriers to the consumption, why they are not buying a normal existing range of refrigerator which are available in the marketplace. Second, we try to understand their needs, what are the needs they have. And third is, do they really have an aspiration to buy a cooling solution which serves their purpose? The running cost was another issue.
The idea was born at a Harvard University workshop conducted by Professor Clayton Christensen, a pioneer of disruptive innovation. An innovation which creates a new market and eventually disrupts the existing market for a product. A small but significant change in design was introduced by abandoning the compressor technology used in domestic fridges and using a thermoelectric or solid-state cooling system.
We decided to go for a solid state, primarily because that was the simplest thing. A 40 mm by 40 mm by 3 mm chip actually does the cooling as against a 12 kg of a mass which is called compressor.
Innovated to save a struggling refrigerator industry, in 2008, Chotucool was born. A 45-litre fridge that can cool food to around 8 to 10 degrees Celsius on a 12-volt battery at the cost of just 3,700 rupees. That's half the price of the cheapest refrigerator you'd find in the market.
A country like India, to be frugal is absolutely essential because we don't have too many resources and we really don't have enough resources for the large population that we have. There's no way that you can eradicate the population, nor can we multiply the resources in a short period of time. We have to be resource efficient and we have to be resource effective. So it is important to be frugal. It is important to be cost effective.
With affordability and accessibility at the heart of Chotucool, Godrej is the only white good manufacturer in India to address the need of the rural poor by creating a new product category for this invisible consumer segment. But targeting this new segment of consumers meant rejecting standard models of distribution to ensure that one who needs a Chotucool gets a Chotucool.
A lot of people talk in terms of reaching out to the market and logistics and everything, which pertains to the visible part of the market where roads exist, the highways exist, the warehouses exist, the people who reach out there exist. We really had to look at places which people cannot reach. And that's where this logic of post office came, that India Post reaches out to so many places. How do they do it? They didn't have the courier system. They didn't have the rocket scientists to do that. They have been reaching it out for more than 100 years.
This tie-up with India Post is making sure Chotucool is reaching the remotest corners of India and impacting the lives of thousands of households.
Okay, we'll take a pause here.
One of the
Quick question to the audience. So what are all the pain areas envisaged by Godrej in this particular space? So what are the pain areas they thought of addressing it? So now I stop presentation. If you want, you can unmute and speak, or you can use the chat window. Need of rural India, which is a generic term. Can you be a little specific? Affordability. So right now, refrigerators are costing 20,000, 30,000. They want to make it affordable. Okay. So in fact, affordability is a feature. Now my question is about pain areas. So we'll say that, we can take affordability as the unmet need. Okay, what else? So they felt that the rural people, the people in the below poverty line, they were not having proper space to put a refrigerator. So already they are living in a 500 square feet or 300 square feet apartment. They don't have space. And they don't have a continuous power supply for even having the lighting, right? So the power supply was an issue, storage space was an issue, cost was an issue. So all that were consolidated as pain areas, and finally they come out with Chotucool. And what are the innovative solutions they provided? So considering the pain areas. Okay, exploit the untapped potential. Okay, that's right. But what are the very specific innovative parts that they brought in? Not sure whether you observed all the points mentioned by Sundararaman and the CEO. So let me optimum utilization of resources. What do you mean by resource? No compressor. That's a valid point, Vidhi. No compressor. Instead of compressor, they brought in a solid state device. So which with a chip, with the power of a chip, they were able to remove the compressor so that the weight has drastically come down. This space has drastically come down. Yes. Like that. This portability. So now the size and weight is less, so they can keep it in any place. So in fact, if I allow the video to run, they were showing examples like how a pawnwala is having a Chotu cool refrigerator for all his pawn, right? To make it fresh. So his business has improved, right? Then one more innovative aspect. So this is not to do with the product, but something else. First thing is compact, portable, then compressor removed. Then now this can run in battery. You don't have to use continuous power supply. Then what is the next one? Mobility, right? So one is finally delivering this product. So at that point of time, they were not having couriers. So this has happened long time back. So at that time, they tried to leverage the service of the India Post, because India Post was offering service to even the remotest corner of the any village in India. So they were not relying on the traditional supply chain. So this is a clear case where design thinking or innovation is possible not only in the product, it can also apply into any process. Only as long as you have to keep the pain areas of the customers in mind. Okay. Again, what happened? My screen sharing is not enabled. Can the moderator give me the rights to share the screen?
Done, sir.
Thank you. So as I said earlier, when you do empathy interview, do the interview in pairs, and then go with a beginner's mindset, ask natural questions, encourage the audience to tell stories, then you can infer. So instead of asking yes or no type of question, ask them to tell how their day starts, what are all the kind of activities they do in the system or in the field or interacting with the stakeholders. Ask them to share all stories. And one of the interview members will also note down the body language, because they may be saying something but actually doing something which will be reflected in the body language. Try to maintain silence, avoid binary questions, and these are all some of the guidelines during the interview process. Now let's quickly do this quick game to understand the power of our subconscious mind. So though I say that you have to go with a clean slate, but obviously certain things will be in your mind. So to demonstrate that, I'll do this exercise. If you have a pad and paper, then you can take it down, or even you can do it mentally. Pick a number from 1 to 10. Any number between 1 to 10. Multiply that number by 9. Second step. Done. Third step, add up the digits. So for example, if you have got 26 in the previous step, 2 plus 6 will give 8. Fourth step, subtract 5 from the previous answer. So 8 minus 5 is 3. Step number 5, find the letter that corresponds to the number in English alphabet. For example, if it is 3, then the English alphabet will be C. Clear? Then think of a country whose name starts with that letter and write it. For example, if the previous answer is C, then you can think of China or Chile or Cambodia, anything. Then the last step would be take the second letter in the country's name. For example, China, second letter is H, and think of an animal, so which may be hippopotamus. Are we all done? Do you need some more time, or well done? Okay. So I think I assume that most of you have done this exercise. Now, quick question is, how many of you have finally thought of anything other than elephant and Denmark? Has anyone thought of Denmark, anything other than Denmark and elephant? You can unmute and speak. or you can share it in your chat window. Any response? So this is to demonstrate the power of our subconscious mind, whatever learnings, whatever experiences that will be there. But when you are trying to come out with any ideas, you have to go with the blank mind. What do you see here? What do you see here? Use chat window or speak up. I think I need 2 monitors to see the chat window on one monitor. How many of you see good here? How many of you see evil here? Or both? Okay. I don't know why people are silent. What do you see here? Victory or defeat or both? So the perspective is important when you try to come out with innovative ideas, even during the empathy interview process. Perspective important. So that's why you go as a panel. Each one will come out with a different kind of perspective. So now quickly explain about this case study, or I'll do one thing. I'll quickly jump into the oil and gas related case studies and then come back to the other stuff because I do not want to miss them out. Already time is around 12 o'clock. How many of you have heard about the term called the green belt with respect to oil and gas? Have you heard about the term green belt? So this is a case study with respect to refining, or petroleum refining. So I think some of my colleagues, refining colleagues are here in this audience. So whenever you construct a refinery, you are supposed to come out with a green belt. So not only you produce fuel, most of the products from a refinery, they are all fuel, diesel, LPG, gasoline, aviation fuel, etc., etc. Not only you are producing fuel, you are also consuming some fuel for internal purpose. So in that process, directly and indirectly, you are polluting the atmosphere. So specifically within a refinery complex, the pollution level will be huge. In order to offset that, every country, the Ministry of Petroleum, they stipulate saying that you are supposed to have a green belt where you are supposed to grow vegetations and trees for certain acres depending on the size and complexity of the refinery. So this is what known as green belt. So traditionally, in my experience, I have seen in some of the refineries, what they have done is they plant random trees. In fact, in one of the refineries, they planted eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus trees, they do not have vast leaves and branches. So they are not going to reduce the pollution. Rather, they are going to absorb the atmospheric moisture, and the roots of the eucalyptus trees, they are going to suck water from the ground level. So without considering the other aspects, just to to meet the compliance requirements, they build the green belt using by planting eucalyptus trees. But this refinery, so all of you know what this refinery is. The world's largest refinery at Jamnagar. Reliance, when they constructed the refinery, they constructed the refinery as a zero discharge refinery. What it means is none of the liquid effluents will go out. So everything, normally in conventional refinery, you will have a effluent treatment plant, and then you have secondary treatment, tertiary treatment, and then finally send it to the city water sewage distribution system. Either it will be treated there, or you will have a reverse osmosis plant and then From there, you may again buy water from there. So this is the kind of arrangement. But generally, the liquid effluent to let out in the nearby stream. But Reliance, when they built the refinery, they thought at the time of design, they thought that nothing will let out. And at the end of the entire refining is the treatment of the effluent happens. Some amount of water will be there. The water need to be reused for your grain belt. But here they wanted to take advantage of the reused water, and but by making some small change in the green belt. Any guess? Has anyone heard about this story, case study? Any idea what difference they made it? Right. So here, this is where the innovative minds work. So this is actually like meeting the compliance requirement for the size and complexity of Jamna's refinery. They have to grow a big green belt. So that is the threat, but they finally converted it to opportunity by making a small change. That is, instead of planting a random plant, they started planting mango trees. So mango orchard. So that has become a mango orchard, and they started growing 200 different types of mangoes from different parts of the world. They brought in 200 different types, and today, not only Reliance is the world's largest refinery, they are also the largest exporter of mango in the world. The most tastiest mangoes and the largest exporter is the Reliance. So now the same concept is adopted by SR, which is having almost a equal complex refinery. So they are also into the same business. So now their agri-business is a separate division. So they are trying to convert the threat into opportunity, keeping all their pain areas at the customer. So I think quick video, I will quickly run it. It will be in Hindi.
हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू वर्ल्ड टेक स्टोरी। आप सबका
wait for few minutes, then you can go to YouTube and then search for this video.
स्वागत है हमारे चैनल के अंदर। देखो, आपको पता है कि रिलायंस और आमो के बीच में क्या कनेक्शन है? नहीं तो इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और हम आपकी स्टोरी बताते हैं पूरी की पूरी, क्या कहानी है आमो और रिलायंस के बीच में। आपके दिमाग में क्या आता है जब मैं रिलायंस का नाम लेता हूँ? रिलायंस, देखो आपके मन में आता होगा रिटेल का, टेलीकॉम का, पेट्रोलियम का। उसकी सबसे बड़ी वीकनेस ये थी कि बहुत सारा पोल्यूशन क्रिएट करना। कहाँ पे? जामनगर रिफाइनरी के अंदर, जो कर रही थी पोल्यूशन सबसे ज़्यादा 1997 के अंदर। इस प्रॉब्लम को देखते हुए इंडिया पोल्यूशन बोर्ड कंट्रोल ने इस प्रॉब्लम को देखा और रिलायंस ने क्या किया, जो वेस्ट लैंड पड़ी थी ना, जो कोई काम नहीं आ रही थी ज़मीन, उसके ऊपर आमों के प्लांट्स लगाने शुरू कर दिए थे वहाँ पे। और उसके बाद उस पूरी जो मैंगो ऑर्चिड थी उसका पूरा नाम रखा गया धीरू भाई अंबानी लकी बाग अमराई। ठीक है, जो एशिया की सबसे बेस्ट मैंगो ऑर्चिड्स में से एक थी। मतलब ऐसा बड़ा प्लान।
So you can literally go through this YouTube video. So this is where the innovative minds come out with the innovative solutions. Let me move on to the another case study. So this is a company known as this company. What they have done is this is a Netherlands-based company. This company, they felt that say many of the European customers, they are very much interested in green energy. What do we mean by green energy? The energy produced by using the unconventional methods like wind turbine or water turbine or biomass. So a lot of small players were doing this. Small players were doing it. In fact, some of the houses on rooftop, they had solar panels and they were self-sufficient in terms of power generation and consumption. And some of them wanted to sell their solar power plant, the power produced there. But at one point of time, at one side, people who want to make investment in alternate source of energy, and they also want to make money out of it. On the other side, there are several citizens who want to consume only green energy. Whenever they consume more energy from the conventional way, they felt guilty, right? So because of me, because of 3 AC air conditioners in my house, I am adding so much in my carbon footprint. So I feel so guilty. So if someone is providing green energy, even if it is slightly costly, I don't mind buying that. So that is where this company started coming in, and then they provided a platform like Uber. So this company is not into producing power or distributing power, nothing. They provided a platform. So they provided a microgrid using which the customers can go and select from what source they can consume power, and at any point of time they can switch over to the different kind of vendors, and the vendors can be kept on adding, and the same way the customers kept on adding. So this short video, let's quickly go through this to understand. Just a 5 minutes video.
So today I would like to talk about your energy contract. Who of you already has a green energy contract? Well, that's more than average in the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands about 64% of the Dutch households at the moment has a green energy contract. And that has been growing over time. The last 2 years it has been around that line. Unfortunately, the amount of renewable energy production didn't ramp up that quick. So the solution, according to most energy companies, was not to start producing more renewable energy, but to actually buy renewable energy certificates from foreign countries, from Scandinavian countries mainly. And by that, the amount of renewable energy production in the Netherlands ramped up a little bit, but not as much as we hoped for. Fortunately, there are people who are investing heavily in renewable energy production. Most of the renewable energy production in the Netherlands and also in our neighboring countries like Germany and Denmark is not coming from the conventional energy companies, but is coming from people like this. Jaap en Fijkje from Molkwerum. They invested in their windmill about 20 years ago, and we see more and more people like them in cooperatives or just independently investing in renewable energy. Unfortunately, those independent producers didn't have access to the consumer. So they had to sell their energy below, who sold it to the consumer with a profit. So about 3 years ago, we thought, what if we could disrupt the status quo? What if we could make it possible to connect the independent producers like cooperatives, citizens, farmers, directly to the consumers? Well, that was a nice idea, and we started working about it, and we created the world's first marketplace for renewable energy. So how it works? Well, on the platform, independent producers like farmers, cooperatives, citizens can sell their excess renewable energy capacity to consumers. And they can determine their own price. You see different types of renewable energy, mainly wind, solar and bio. And because they get a better price for the renewable energy that they sell on the platform, they can continue to reinvest that amount of money. And the consumer actually knows what happens with their energy bill. It creates more transparency. And what we see happening on the platform is that most of the producers on the platform actually start reinvesting the extra money that they get for their renewable energy into more renewable energy capacity. We also made a deliberate choice to not make any margin on the energy that we sell on the platform. So every kilowatt hour that is sold on the platform, and also all the gas that is sold on the platform, we don't make any money on that energy. And because of that, we aligned our interest with that of the consumer. Namely, if the consumer uses less energy, it's in the interest of the consumer. It's also in the interest of sustainability, because he or she uses less energy. But it's also in our interest, because the less energy the consumer uses, the more people we can supply with one source, with one producer. So what is our impact up till now? So as I told you, we started thinking about this idea about 3 years ago. The first time we pitched for investors was in June 2013. Well, many things have happened since then. And right now we have about 90 producers on the platform, 90 independent producers. We also have about 90 employees that work with us. We just hit the target of 90,000 customers. But of course, we want to scale it much faster. So the most important question today is basically, what can you do? We believe in the energy revolution, in an energy landscape in which most households start producing their own energy. So of course, you should think about that. You should think about starting to produce your own energy. Or if that's really not possible, buy it from an independent source. But the most important question I have for you is this. I'm talking to a TED community of brilliant people, and And the main quote of that is ideas worth spreading. And we want to spread this idea. And we don't want to do it on our own. We want to make sure that other companies are copying our model because we really believe this is the future. So please help us spread the idea and make this scale much more fast. Thank you.
So what are your takeaways on this particular case study? So have they thought about empathizing their customers or stakeholders? Yes. There are set of power producers who want to produce more green energy, but they were not getting the right price. They were underselling it to the big corporate, the big power companies. So at the same time, another set of stakeholders who want to consume green energy, but there was no platform. So considering the pain areas of both the stakeholders, the supplier and the receiver, they provided a platform. So this is called, the concept is known as Uberizing. So like how Uber is trying to connect with the car drivers and then the riders. So they are providing platform, and today the customer has got the flexibility to choose their source of energy. And everyone is, now this is a win-win situation for all of us. And the key component in making this model successful one is the power of technology. So the power of internet technology, mobile technology, big data technology, security, everything put together. And if you have remembered the last few lines, what he says is, as you know, TED Talks is always talks about ideas worth spreading. He says that you can simply shamelessly copy this idea. So they are not owning the IP for it. They say that let the entire world follow this model so that we'll have a lot of micro grids. Let power be produced in every household, whoever is capable of doing it, and let it be consumed in the nearest place. Instead of producing power at a remote location using coal-based power plant and then spend money on transmission losses, this will be a sustaining model. So that is what Uberizing green economy. Just I want to highlight this as one of the case studies. Any questions or shall I move on? Okay, let me move on. So now we are going to talk about the Petrobot project, right? So in a refinery, we have something known as different kind of maintenance strategies. So the breakdown maintenance, preventive maintenance, then turnaround maintenance, and a risk-based inspection. These are all some of the strategies to keep the equipment online 24/7 so that you don't have any outage. So the rotating equipments, generally they are monitored using a handle device through which vibration is monitored, and then the subject matter experts analyze those vibrations and then come out with the conclusion saying that out of 100 pumps, 2 or 3 pumps need extra maintenance or something like that. But there are even static equipments which are need to be inspected. For example, if you take care of a pressure vessel or a tank, something like that, they have to be inspected. But generally, you can inspect them only during their shutdown or turnaround maintenance, the long-term shutdown maintenance. And again, you have to send the inspection engineers, and the inspection engineers, they have to randomly select certain vantage points, vulnerable points, and do the thickness testing or building testing. So all that they have to do it. So at the end of it, you can never say that it is 100% foolproof. So of course, you can improve the reliability as you take more and more samples, more and more tests than that. But the challenge was most of the time the tanks are so huge and cramped, some of the distillation columns or something like that. You have to get access to it. It is very difficult. It is enormous time-consuming process. So this particular refinery, Chevron, what they thought is they understood the pain areas of the group of people who are working, the maintenance engineers. They understood the pain area of the investors, because when a shutdown is delayed even by 1 day, that is going to involve so much of cost in $1 million, depending on the size and complexity of the refinery. So if you are able to do all the inspection in the shortest possible time, of course, without compromising on safety, then that is going to add revenue to the organization. The customer will also, the investors will also be delighted. So keeping that all in mind, now they have come out with a new project called Petrobot project. So if you watch this, you will understand what this project is all about. Just a 3.5 minutes video.
The petrochemical industry operates production plants that require safe operation and continuous management of their condition. Storage tanks and pressure vessels are an important component of these plants. To determine their condition, vessels and tanks are opened up regularly for internal inspection. Such inspection is traditionally done by specialized personnel going into the vessels and tanks. This entry poses potential safety risks. With robot inspection, human entry can be avoided. The Petrobot project is developing a series of robots for the inspection of light product storage tanks and cleaned pressure vessels. 4 robots are being developed. 3 for offline pressure vessel inspection, where the vessel is emptied and cleaned prior to inspection, and 1 for online tank inspection, where the tank is kept online with its product still inside. The FAST platform is a robotic crawler that has inspection and cleaning capabilities. It can be outfitted with several inspection technologies, such as visual inspection cameras, ultrasonic tools, an eddy current tool, and via its onboard laser imaging system, it can generate 3D scans of vessel interiors. Utilizing magnetic wheels to travel on the surface, it can autonomously maneuver within the vessel and enter confined environments. The snake arm robot has a long, slender, and flexible design, allowing it to fit through small openings and around obstacles. With its modular end effector, it can carry items such as visual inspection cameras, ultrasonic tools, and eddy current tools. Due to its compact design and high degree of freedom, it can navigate through an open space, avoiding obstacles using nose following, which enables the arm to follow the same path as the end effector. The bike platform is a small robotic crawler that is specifically designed for complex environments within vessels. It can be outfitted with several inspection technologies, such as visual inspection cameras, ultrasonic tools, and eddy current tools. And via its onboard laser imaging system, it can generate 3D scans of vessel interiors and operate autonomously. With its compact design, magnetic wheels, and high maneuverability, it is capable of climbing over obstacles. The tank robot is designed to perform inspection of the tank floor while product is still stored inside. It carries visual, magnetic, and ultrasonic inspection technologies to inspect the condition of the tank floor. It can operate semi-autonomously in its environment and uses ultrasonic and weld detection technology for localization and navigation. The Petrobot project is committed to developing robot capabilities that allow the inspection of light product storage tanks and cleaned pressure vessels without human entry. Petrobot will start to open up the market for robotics in the petrochemical industry, enabling safer solutions for vessel and tank inspection.
Here, the key message is the technology companies, however good they are, unless without interacting with the customer, without understanding the customer's pain area, they would not have come out with this. They may be manufacturing different kind of robots or robotic arms, but they would have never come out with such a comprehensive solution unless they have interacted with the customer. So the empathy interview and the definition of problem statement and then coming out generate ideas. And obviously, to make it competitive product, they would have come out with a prototype, took it to customers, taken the feedback from the customer and improvised on it. So at this point of time, I would like to see whether my petroleum refinery colleague is here. I would like to take his hear from him. Jairaj, are you there? So do you think this Petrobot project will be great value addition to refining space?
Yeah, definitely, because the safety is the main point. Whenever people enter the vessels, we have to take care of a lot of things like availability of sufficient oxygen and completely evacuating all the poisonous gases from the vessel. That is the more important. And it is not a one-time job. Throughout the turnaround activities, we have to continuously monitor the oxygen percentage level and the non-availability of other hydrogen sulfide like these things. So this robot, if it is using to apply for the inspection job, that makes the job easy and ensure the safety. And also human cannot reach all the nooks and corners of the equipment. In that area also, like that one robot like a snake kind of thing, that can crawl into the nook and corner and take the complete picture of the vessel. That will be good, I think.
And thank you, Jairaj, for sharing your thoughts. So primarily, as mentioned by Jairaj, this first of all, you have to give a permit to the person who is entering there. To give the permit, I have to do some tests using certain instruments like explosimeter and oxygen analyzer. So everything depends on that particular instrument. Suppose if the instrument gives a faulty reading and I assume that it is safe to enter, that is going to endanger the lives of the human being. So many incidents have happened, such kind of scenarios, and it is always a tricky situation to do the complete inspection up to the satisfaction. We have to take care of the safety one aspect. The other side, we have to do that the inspection is done up to satisfaction. Now with the power of technology, we are able to achieve it. So, but slowly this will take. So when more and more people start consuming these kind of products, the cost of it will come down, and then over a period of time, the manpower intervention will be minimized or it will be totally taken care, totally eradicated. So obviously the people who are earmarked for their job, they can take up some other value-added roles, but these kind of unsafe jobs can be performed by okay, now I'm just going through the chat window. Design thinking to innovation, is this how it goes? Yes. So if I come out with all of a sudden just an idea, then we may call it as innovation or invention. But starting from the life cycle of the innovation process, that is, you don't go with a solution. You go and talk to people, all the stakeholders, understand their pain areas, listen to every point, and then come and do some definition exercise. During the definition exercise, you synthesize, analyze, and then come out with one or two areas where you want to address. And then sit as a team of innovators and then come out with a prototype, take it to customers. If you follow all the 5 processes, then it is design thinking. Some of us may be partially applying it, some of us may be doing it. For example, companies like Google, IBM and others, they are following all the 5 steps. But whereas some for the startup companies, they may be, without doing design thinking, they may be doing an innovative product. But if you follow this process, 5-step process, then it will be easy and it is going to save time for every one of us, and the end product will meet all the stakeholders' expectations. So this is another project, again, something related to safety and the maintenance kind of activities. So generally in oil and gas facility, whether it is upstream, midstream or downstream, there are 2 groups. The one group which is operating the unit or the manufacturing unit is known as operations group. And another group is the support group known as a maintenance group. So whenever there is a problem in the plant area, for example, if a valve is leaking or a pump is making noise, then the operations group will generate a work order, and the work order will go to the maintenance department. And many such work orders will come from different department to the maintenance department. And the maintenance, there is a small subgroup known as the maintenance planning. This planning group will consolidate and collate all the work orders and see whether any priority one work order is there. If priority one work order, normally you will also get to hear from our phone. Then you are supposed to address it immediately within hours. Whereas priority 2 may take a couple of 8 hours or 12 hours. Priority 3 can take a couple of days. Once this scheduling is done, the maintenance guy will go and go to the operations department and ask them to give a permit to do the job. So now, for example, sometime back we were talking about doing a gas analysis when I want to open a pressure vessel, etc. So the operation department at the morning, when they come to know that so and so maintenance activity is to be carried out, morning at 7 o'clock, they will go and inspect whether this equipment can be handed over, and they will do all the tests, etc. And then be ready to give a work permit to the crew, to the maintenance crew. So the maintenance crew will take the work permit, and again the work permit will be divided into multiple categories. There are 7 different kind of work permits are there: hot work, cold work, excavation, and then radiation, then confined space entry. Like that, 7 different type of work permit is there. So the work permit once taken by the maintenance department, they will go and execute the job. At the time, the operations department, they have to go and continuously supervise the nature of job. And once the job is done, the work permit is closed. Or if the job demands the next day to be performed, then the work permit will elapse, and the next day the work permit will be continued. Or if it is urgent work, then the work permit will be extended. And finally, the work permit will be closed as well as the work order is closed. Now, companies like SAP, they have automated the entire process. Earlier, people used to do all this, whatever I say, using a paper-based one. They are now automated. So, once the moment the operations department is triggering a work order, immediately the next moment the maintenance supervisor can see it, maintenance planning supervisor can see it, and delegate the resources and team members. But still, even after automating, the work order system and the permit system were independent silos. So this was a pain area. For example, when the person has to go and take the permit, so though the permit is issued using the system, the maintenance guy has to go there and then wait in the queue. So many times it will be contract workmen also. So many people will be waiting in the queue, and finally once the work permit is obtained, and someone will allow them inside the plant on seeing these work permit, etc., etc. So 2 independent silos, and it was taking time consuming. And SAP thought that they can merge this, and then with the power of technology, now they have something known as SAP Fiori. So using all that, they try to integrate everything. So the moment work order is generated, so automatically by seeing the nature of the work order, the work permit will also be generated. And once the resources are allocated, immediately the work permit is given. Given in the sense, of course, it will be triggered to the operations department. Operations department, all they have to do is tick a check mark. So once the check mark is cleared with the help of a mouse or a click button, so immediately the work order is made available. And all this work order can be prepared in the background, the work permit. So a supervisor need not have to enter all the details. So though we are talking about IT and automation, even small stuff takes time. For example, if you want to enter into the refinery, you may be a workforce who would like to go and work in a refinery, either in the computer department or in the maintenance department, or at least in Indian context. If you go to any refinery, you have to spend to do the job at 10 o'clock, you have to go there and wait there from 7 o'clock. They will take all your using a webcam, they will take a picture, they will enter everything, they will take your Aadhaar card or PAN number, enter all ID details, and to get that visitor pass itself, this is all assuming that someone has already initiated the visitor permit inside the system. So if it is not done, then you have to call the person and ask him to talk to the security. So you will be totally get annoyed. So this is where I am bringing the concept known as customer experience. So though it is automated, the customer experience is totally negative. So automatically when we say that now we are kind of computerized, all our workflow is automated, doesn't mean the stakeholders are happy. So if you want all the stakeholders to be happy, you have to do design thinking approach. You have to empathize on each and every stakeholder, whether he is a contract workman, contract supervisor, right? So that, and if you allow them to get into the thing, what is the plan faster, then the productivity level also will go up. Otherwise, when you are earmarked for a job for 5 days, finally it may exceed 7 days. So unnecessarily, what is that, exceeding your budget estimation, everything. So you will not have clarity. So that is where people are now trying to even see into the automated system. Though if it is automated, again go and revisit whether people are happy. So how to find out? You have to go and do the interview, empathy interview. So without interview, sitting from ivory tower, you cannot understand. I'll come back to that little later. Give me some time. Let me. Okay, I'll come to this slide. So since I wanted to cover the oil and gas stuff, I jumped some slides. So who is this person and how is he connected with the image here?
TN session. TN session.
Who was he?
He was
Chief Election Commissioner.
Former Chief Election Commissioner. And how is he related to this bus?
He studied the bus route for taking a decision. Finally, he understood the driver and the bus route.
An election commissioner. What contest?
During his, he was a civil servant. Some issue was there, so he wanted to study the details of the bus route and the difficulties that driver is undergoing. So even the bus, and he understood the difficulties. Finally, he took a decision on that when he was a civil servant, not as a chief election commissioner.
Who was giving this answer?
Madam?
Who was this?
Yeah, Ramesh from Chennai Petroleum.
Oh, Ramesh. Thank you, Ramesh. Yes, you are right, Ramesh. So as you all know, Sheshan was an IAS officer. He started his career in Tamil Nadu. The very first post was he was heading the State Transport Corporation. So the moment he joined the organization, within few months, he took a heavy vehicle license. And he used to go into the route of, in his car, he will go in Chennai, Trichy or Chennai, Nagapattinam route. He will go there and then in a remote place, he will stop his car and get out of his car and wait for the bus coming from the highway. He will stop the bus, get into the bus and ask the bus driver to get up, and then he will start driving the vehicle for 100 miles or 200 miles. So the reason was to understand the every experience, right? So many times, managers know they sit in their cabin and then they never come out. Only when problem comes in, they go and try to resolve the escalation. So a manager who is always mingling with the team members will always understand their pain areas. So that's how some of the popular the managers, they have elevated to the level of the topmost position because they know what they want to give to their employees, team members. So in fact, a similar latest example is this Flipkart CEO. So now he is no more a CEO, Sachin Bansal. He wanted to go along with the courier boy, the delivery boy, while delivering the commodity. You know, people order online so many items. So he went along with the delivery boy. The delivery boy did not know that the CEO is sitting in his pillion. So the very first, he has narrated an article, Sachin Bansal, saying that when he delivered the first courier, nothing happened. He went there, knocked the door and then delivered. The second house, when they went, the article was meant for the housewife. But the husband came in and opened the door. He could have taken the parcel. He said that my wife is taking bath. You wait for some time, right? So he, if he has not visited that place, he would have thought that all the delivery would take just a couple of minutes. So on the day, it was a revelation for him. So my God, to deliver this, only he is asking his wife to come and take it. So like that. So on the day, he understood the pain here of the delivery boy. So like that, he was getting different kind of experiences. And he made it a point in his organization that all his CXOs, whether CTO or Chief Marketing Officer or Chief Technology Officer, all the CXOs, they have to go along with the delivery boy at least once in a year. So the idea is to walk in other shoes, you need to take out yours first, right? So that is what known as empathy. So let me also come back to some basics. I think we have used the term empathy many times. What is the difference between sympathy, empathy, and apathy? So I think this picture will give you some clue.
तू खाना तो क्यों ना सोना?
Or you're responding me or side conversation? Okay, let me explain. So sympathy is just primarily your response based on your emotion, whereas empathy is response based on your logical thinking. For example, sometimes someone will be having some problem. The other person will become so emotional, he will also get into problem. For example, person getting into a quicksand. So in the name of helping him, you also get into quicksand. So again, I can come back to oil and gas industry. So oil and gas industry, hydrogen sulfide is the most dangerous gas. So even just 10 ppm parts per million hydrogen sulfide environment, a person can collapse. So if you thought that if you think that you want to go and help him, if you go and try to grab him to a safe location, you will also collapse. Many such incidents have happened, especially when people are entering into pits. Right? You have to be cognizant of the nature of the problem. You have to apply your mind. So a person with the empathy will not only become emotional. Of course, emotion part will also be there, but he will also apply brain, and then what is the right solution, then you will offer it. Then the third one is apathy. What is there? Where can we see it? So apathy is just a lack of interest towards a person, total disinterest or chalta hai attitude, take it for granted attitude. For example, you all might have seen that classic example is a person who would have met with an accident and people will simply walk. So either that person, those people would have got a negative experience, or they may be busy on their own priority task. It may be the reason. But that is one classic example of apathy. Apathy, we can see it in many service organizations. For example, when you have some problem with your mobile service, you make a complaint, then people will not respond, or they will respond only after 2 days or 3 days. So slowly their reputation will go for a toss, and the customer churn will happen. So when you have apathy in your mindset, so slowly the customer base will be coming on. And one classic example, I used to visit bank, though my sons used to say, Appa, everything is online, where do you visit a bank? So till, because I am 50 plus, I used to visit a bank once in a while, once in a month or so. So go with the passbook and get it entered. So today I think banks are also charging for availing all the services when you go to a bank. So they expect you to do everything at your home or in a kiosk. So every time when they put the passbook into the printer, the passbook will take a zigzag movement and finally the entire printer will be garbled. When I ask the person, what is this, ma'am? Why is it happening? Sir, you go and talk to the manager. When I go and talk to the manager, immediately, sir, these hardware service providers are not good. So everybody thinks that the job is somebody else's job, and finally nobody acts on it. So that is the kind of attitude. So first of all, if you want to bring design thinking into practice, we have to have a mindset of empathy towards all our stakeholders. So quickly, how much more time I have? Time check. We have another half an hour. Shall I take a pass and ask questions? Take questions. If you want, I can do that, or I can cover some more slides. Yes, I stopped. Let me stop sharing my screen. If you have any questions. So time is 12:40. We have 20 more minutes. Any specific questions? Give me a minute. Let me wait and see whether someone is asking questions. Any questions, guys? Okay, let me go ahead and complete my other slides. Okay, so this is also happening sometimes. This is primarily vital in the second phase of definition. So unless you do thorough analysis of the customer's problem area, we will jump into solution. This I have seen quite a number of times in the IT organization. So immediately when the customer is asking a question, immediately they will come out with a menu card saying that I have all the solutions. But first of all, you have to listen to the customer's problem. So the problem is we don't fully understand the problem, and that is where the exact solution is not offered. So what is very much important is, as I said, this empathy map. So this is where after doing the empathy exercise, I try to put them in the post-it and then put it in the 4 different quadrants. What are all the words used by the customer? What are the thoughts and belief systems of the customer? What are the feelings and emotions? Right? So when you are doing the empathy interview, you will come to know about all this through their body language and the way how they interact with their own team members, etc., etc. So based on that, you will do a complete analysis and then finally do analysis and synthesis. So it is primarily a convergent exercise. When you start doing an empathy interview, it is a divergent exercise. And in the definition process, you are converging. You are trying to narrow down all the problem statement and identify the key problem statements. So to do this, one simple technique would be mind maps. Mind maps, it will take a separate session. I'll quickly explain. Mind map is a way of representing different thoughts and thoughts and abstract concepts into a visually available medium. So it can be either hand-drawn or today's software are available, even free downloadable software are available. So within which you will be able to, for example, this slide, it talks about 10 A's, what are the different, with one single slide, you will be able to explain the stakeholders what is happening there. So when you are trying to analyze customer's problem statement, better use a mind map. Okay, this is an important slide I want to articulate. So many times we loosely use the term idea, invention, and innovation. So it is very much essential to understand the difference between idea, invention, and innovation. Any idea about what is idea? What do we mean by idea? Sure, someone is trying to answer with background noise. Okay, let me explain. So the idea is any new thought that comes to your mind beyond conventional thinking, right? For example, an idea can come from anyone on any subject. So even we may not be totally relevant to the subject, but still we can give an idea. For example, many times when we, after seeing a movie, we'll say, no, the director should have set up the climax like this. If I were the director, I would have done something like that. I will be totally non-connected with the film industry, but still I can give an idea how the climax should be set in or how the opening should be arranged. So that is an idea. And ideas can come at any point of time. So while we are speaking, while we are doing an activity, random thoughts will come in and some of them are workable ideas. So what is invention? Invention is where you are trying to put your efforts and then make it come out with some prototype or some demonstrable stuff. So the idea is just a thought. The thought can be put in PowerPoint or Word document and can be shared. But if you start doing some research, either you come out with some software solution or come out with a demonstrable artifact or a prototype, that is known as invention. Okay, now we are all clear how idea got evolved into invention. So then what is innovation? This is very important aspect as a design thinker. Would anyone like to attempt? Okay, innovation is idea that is scalable in nature and that is also adding value to all stakeholders so that the business can sustain in the long run. I may come out with a very complex idea or a simple idea, but that may not yield any benefit to. So that's why many times organization people say that I have used a lot of ideas. I have tried to use the idea junction, suggestion box, but management rejected my idea. The team rejected my idea because the team would have evaluated the idea whether it is worth pursuing, whether a business case is available or not. Let me see whether I have. I'll quickly explain. I don't know whether you have seen this setup in a central station or any other big mall. So this is known as a magic food box, a huge setup, something like the size of a room. So in which the food items can be kept in trays. So this was available in central station or airport kind of stuff. So this guy tried to bring it to my organization, which was an IT company. IT company, around 5,000 people are working there. They tried to do this setup in cafeteria. So the idea is, all you have to do is, it is an unmanned kiosk. What you have to do is you have to swipe you have to select the menu, under the same setup. You can have meals from Anjapar, you can have biryani from what is that popular restaurant, Hafiz Biryani, or you can have Murugan Idli Kadai. So you will have multiple vendors who are already tied up with the company. You have to select your menu by selecting that particular button, A4 or number, and then you have to swipe your card or you have to insert your currency. That's all. And within 60 seconds, the food robotic arm will from x-axis, it will move to y-axis, and from y it will come to z-axis, and then go and pick that particular food stacked already, and then it will put it in a microwave and deliver it within 60 seconds. And IT organization during the cafeteria lunchtime, the cafeteria will be crowded. People thought that this is going to ease out the problem. So the very first day, big crowd was there, and everyone was, it was like almost a robot delivering something. And people, for the sheer fancy value, people started going to that particular counter and started availing this session. But within 2 weeks, in fact, this guy, when he tried to do all that, he has to do all kind of calibration. He took 1.5 months to set up this. But within 2 weeks, they have to wind it up. Any reason?
Probably the timing which the machine has taken must be more, 60
So I
seconds.
said 60 seconds. Normally, if they wait in the cafeteria, it will take 5 minutes, right? 5 to 10 minutes during peak time. Timing was not the big issue.
The personal attention missed.
People were not very much bothered, because even when you go to the counter, no, so they will serve like this, and then almost even human beings behave like robots. So that was not a major differentiator. Okay, so have you tried to understand the cost of the meal? The cost of the meal was 140 rupees, right? Whereas in a IT cafeteria, office cafeteria, you will have multiple, the food court, you will have multiple vendors. Just 2 minutes away from that particular kiosk, you have Murugan Idli Kadai, where he was selling the meal for 60 or 70 rupees. This was costing double the cost. Second thing, people were also having apprehension. When was the guy loaded the food trays, right? Of course, it was a sealed plastic tray covered with a plastic cover. That was number one. They were not quite sure at what time the food was prepared. Number two, it was microwave heated in a plastic tray. People were not comfortable putting a plastic in a microwave oven. The main important aspect is the cost. So after 2 weeks, the guy has to take it out. So whenever you come out with an innovative solution, 3 things are essential. Unfortunately, that slide is missing. So it has to be the Venn cross section of 3 circles. One is desirability. The market should have a need. Either the market should have expressed its need on its own on a proactive basis, or you should have done a survey or done an empathy interview. Number 2 is technically it should be feasible in the long run. Technically it should be feasible. Third one is viability. All the 3 things are, if it is commonly intersecting, then you will get a perfect product or perfect viable solution. So in this case, the viability. So 140 rupees, the customers are unable to afford. And he was not in a position to reduce the cost because he has invested on the robotic arm and other kind of stuff. So if it is not cost effective, it is not going to survive. So with idea, you can come out with innovation, but for To make it innovation, you have to make it viable, have desirability in the market. Technically, it should be feasible. And the last important aspect is scalability. So it should be scaled up like anything without much effort. So then that is where the business will be sustaining in the long run. So another classic example is, I'll come to this slide. This slide is, so I think this slide is here. I forgot to, I thought I have not included. Human factor, technical factor and market factor. The previous slide talked about different innovation techniques. I will not go through that. Time will not permit. And one more slide I want to talk about. Yes. Now we talked about empathy, then definition, ideation, then the power of prototype. So a picture is worth of 1,000 words, a prototype is worth 1,000 meetings. I already explained. So only when you develop a prototype, the customer will understand that you know the domain and you know how to technically articulate it. However, even if it is not full-fledged solution. And during this process, you will come across failures. Failure is part of the process. It's okay. You can always learn from the failure. But only thing is, you should remember the theory of insanity. What does it mean? So if you do the same mistake again and again and expect different result, that is called theory of insanity. You can always afford to do different kind of mistakes or learn from others' mistakes. So whenever you have a mistake, don't get bogged down. Learn from it and do something more. So don't get, that is the message. But the key message is not to do the mistakes again and again. Right? This is again an important aspect. Many times, again, coming back to that innovation aspect, idea alone will not be helpful. Execution is a very, very important aspect. Idea into execution is finally the business value or business solution. For example, I'm giving some values here. An awful idea, -1 mark. Weak idea, 1 score. The brilliant idea, 20 points. And whereas, again, I am giving value for the different types of execution. A weak execution, 1,000 points. A brilliant execution, 1 million points. Okay. So, for example, I take obviously as an innovator, I am always tempted to take the most brilliant idea, exciting idea. Okay. Now I have discussed with many people and everyone has validated and vetted. But after once I started doing the project, I am doing it as in a very weak fashion. Very weak fashion means ultimately the customers are not happy. Somewhere something lagging, broken links are there, or some error message is thrown out, or I find it user unfriendly. So it is offering me a solution, but it is not up to mark. That is known as weak execution. So the brilliant idea is 20 points and weak execution. Finally, the solution is worth of 20 into 1,000, 20,000. Okay. So that is the business value. But rather, on the contrary, I take a very weak idea, but I do it in a most brilliant way. The very weak idea has got value 1. The brilliant execution has got $1 million value. And the final net result is 1 million. So many times when we talk about innovation, we have to think something totally different, radical. No, it can be a small letter difference in the existing process or smallest differentiation that you can bring it in business. But that should add value to the customer in the long run for multiple people. So one classic example is Instagram. I think many of you youngsters would be using Instagram to the maximum. Few years back, Instagram was a very, very vanilla application. Nothing more than taking a picture and then store it in your cloud and download it whenever needed or share it with people. That's all. Anything more? Nothing. Today they have added so many features, but nothing more. 5 years, 6 years back. A simple idea of taking a picture, uploading it and downloading it. That's all. But that idea was brilliantly executed. What does it mean? They had around 70 million users. At any point of time, even 10% of the users go in real time. That system should be capable of tackling this kind of traffic. No single individual should feel the latency. No one should feel that no, uploading is taking time, downloading is taking time. No one should get a feeling. So if people get such kind of feeling, slowly customer churn will happen and you are going to lose your customer base. But that is where all the intelligent minds, they were brought in the typical startup culture was brought in, and they used all powerful algorithms so that customer does not know what is happening in the background. And because of that, they were able to add customers like they on a daily basis. On a daily basis, thousands and thousands of customers were added. And finally, Facebook acquired it. At what cost? Any idea? Can anyone recollect at what cost this one was taken over? Instagram? $1 billion. $1 billion. Today, some of the traditional companies, after 20 years, they say that now we have touched the billion mark or something like that. But this Instagram, a startup company, by sheer execution, they were able to bring value to their customers. Of course, you may be asking whether this is really needed or not. So all the questions will be there, whether Facebook is needed or not. So those are all different kind of questions. But definitely in terms of value addition, they brought in, and the marketplace, they had a huge market share. And because of those reasons, all these technology companies, you take Google, Facebook, Alibaba, all these companies now they are surpassing oil and gas companies, which were supposed to be the giants in the market. Now they are overtaking all the BPs and Chevrons of the world. So because of the clear understanding of the customer requirement and identifying the right use case, identifying the right solution, and finally the brilliant execution. So with that, let me conclude my session, and if you have any questions. Oh, okay, one more last slide. I want to show this. Right. So the popular adage says charity begins at home. So when you want to do charity, we have to start from close circle. I am taking analogy from there, and I say that empathy too begins at home. When you are not showing empathy towards your family members, parents, children, sibling, when you are not able to show empathy towards your team members, higher ups, or colleagues, you cannot show empathy towards your customers. So after attending design thinking workshop, you cannot come out with an innovative solution, starting thinking that I want to show empathy towards my customer and come out with an innovative solution. So it is more than technology. It is more mindset, a shift in mindset. You start empathizing with all your stakeholders starting from home, then definitely totally a different kind of perception will be there. Any questions? I'll conclude here. So one or two case studies I have not yet covered. So if time is given 5 more minutes, then I can cover that. But before that, I'd like to hear from you whether any questions are there.
You can cover.
Okay. I'll take one more case study. This is an interesting case study. How many of you have gone to an MRI scan center or accompanied any of your family members to a MRI scan center? So obviously anyone taking design thinking, they will not forget to cover this case today. So I want to do the justification in addressing this case today. Have you come across this MRI scan? At least one of you can tell me your experience. How was it? Was it painful or scary, or you were emotionless? What kind of emotions you had when you went to MRI scan?
Hello, sir. May I speak?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, basically, it was a weird experience because there is a huge sound which comes, and like there's nothing to fear about. But yes, like it is something much awkward, and that's it.
Exactly. So generally, MRI scan machines or the rooms will be very clean, neat. So that itself sometimes we'll get. Sometimes if it is too clean, too neat, we will get scared. We are always comfortable with a chaotic situation. So that is number one. Number two is the attender will say, remove all your chain, ring, everything. He will give a lot of instructions. Your mobile device, hearing aid, and whether you are wearing a pacemaker, etc., etc. The reason is the MRI scan machine has got a very powerful magnet. So in fact, 2 years back, a youngster in mid-30s, mid-20s, he accompanied his mother who was always carrying an oxygen cylinder because of respiratory problem. So he went to his scan center along with his mother. The attendant forgot to tell him not to bring the oxygen cylinder. And as soon as the machine started, the guy was holding the portable oxygen cylinder. He was sucked into the machine and he got killed. So very, very unfortunate and unforgettable incident. So these are all additional scary things. But when you go there, you are asked to lie down and then they will try to push it in the machine. That will also give you a different kind of impression. Am I here for scanning or are they doing something else or my last rights? Something like that, you will get all weird things. Then, as you mentioned, the third one is all weird sound, brr, brr, kind of sounds. You will, once the entire test is done, you will feel relieved. So this guy, Doug Dias, is the chief design engineer from GE Healthcare. General Electric, they have presence in multiple verticals. So they have one of their strong vertical is healthcare. So he was responsible in designing this. And once this, of course, not single contribution, also a team contribution, they have designed this. But he was the key person. So once this is ready, when he went and installed this, he was so proud that without much other conventional way of doing a diagnosis, the patients are able to be, patients can be scanned in a non-invasive fashion. So he was so happy about it. And he used to go for rounds and then check whether people are happy about it. The hospitals, they used to give positive feedback. But once he went to a hospital, he found some weird noises in a particular department. That was a pediatric department. The pediatric department, they had a dedicated MRI scan and all the children were crying. So he asked why the children, because they are taken for MRI scan. MRI scanning, nothing to do with no poking, nothing. Why should they get scared? No. When adults are having such a scary feeling, obviously children will also have such kind of feeling. Number two is some children may not cooperate, so they are all given sedation. They will put under sedation and then until that the scanning is done, they will be on sedation. For that, anesthetist used to come there and give sedation. So that day got totally, he was taken aback and he was totally upset about it. Oh my God, I thought I have come out with a very, very interesting system, but still people are finding they are scared and unnecessarily innocent children, they are all put in sedation. And most of the time, the sedation, the scanning, after scanning, 90% of the time, people say nothing wrong, you are all right. So, but still, why that sedation is needed? It may have some side impact or something like that. He was annoyed. Then he was thinking that he has to do some kind of modification. He could not think of any idea. Finally, he thought he will take up a course in Stanford University. And after undergoing this design thinking program, then finally he started applying it. And finally he came out with an idea. And he was happy about it. Any guess how he made the modification? He did some modifications and finally it was more or less accepted. The acceptance level has gone up. I'll take one more slide deck, so I think that slide is missing here. Can anyone make a guess?
He started playing music.
Okay, somewhere closer, but not really. So what he has done is he just changed the. Are you able to see my new slide deck? So I'm trying to open another deck. So he just changed the look and feel of the machine. So instead of the plain vanilla look and feel, what he has done is he has given an overlay of something like this. Are you able to see my new screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So here they try to put it like a game in the marine game. So and there are a couple of counselors, a recruiter in the hospital who will give a story to the children saying that now we are going for a treasure hunt. So during the treasure hunt, one of the journeys will be through ships. So during their ship ride, some pirates will come and try to attack you. So in order not to reveal your identity, you have to keep quiet for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So when we give signal, then at the time you can come out. Till the time you have to keep your silence. So like that, some storytelling was happening. And then finally, these people, the children will go there and maintain silence and then come out, and they enjoyed it. And later, different kind of versions started coming in, like aquarium, Mickey Mouse. They try to come out with the different stories, and finally they come out with the different kind of flavors. So at this end of this exercise, the number of they started analyzing the key performance indicators, KPIs. So for the hospitals, the number of sedations started coming down. The number of anesthesia specialists, that has come down. So which was a good sign. So on the other side, positive side, number of patients scanned per day, the throughput for the hospital increased. And after every complete analysis, the patient survey will be taken. Patient satisfaction score also improved. So all is well, that ends well. But our guide, that guy was not still completely happy until he heard that. He was happy, of course, but when he heard that another feedback, he was completely happy to the 100%. Any guess what was the other final outcome?
They're putting the headphone and playing the music now.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm not aware. Okay, so actually that days, though all these numbers, these are all numbers for hospitals, right? The number of sedation, number of anesthesia is coming down, throughput, hospital management will be happy. But that days was happy when one of the children told her parents, can we come back here again? So she felt like feeling like in a wonderland. So when he heard that particular feedback, then he thought that his day was made. Because all along he was trying to empathize and coming out with the innovative product. But again, the final customer experience, that is where the final loop was closed, the customer experience loop. So one more hidden message here is, many times at a corporate level, we do customer satisfaction survey and then try to get on a Likert scale 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and the customer will score something, and finally we say that yes, last year we were 3.5, this year we are 3.55. So we will get elated. Rather than that, if you ask one of the customers to open their mouth and give a qualitative feedback rather than quantitative feedback, if you listen to them, or if you ask customer to give a testimonial, video testimonial, there are many customers who do that. Yes, I avail this service from this company. I'm totally happy about it. I'm ready to give this video testimonial, and the vendor, he will go and put it in his website, or he will share it with all other customers, because they want to, the kind of experience they got it, they want to share their happiness. They are ready to give a video testimonial. So if you are able to do that, then the complete life cycle of design thinking is taken care. So with that, I'll conclude my session. And still, if we have time, I can take 1 or 2 questions. I hope all of you got an idea about overview on this concept of design thinking, and primarily the 5-step process with realistic case studies from the energy sector. Harshil, the session will end in a minute. I'm done.
Does anyone have got any questions or you would like to ask?
Okay, if there are no questions, yeah.
Yes, I think there are no more questions. But if in case any questions comes to us, or we, there is any email, but we'll definitely forward it to you.
Yeah, I think someone is having questions.
Yeah. Sir, can you please share the slides if visible?
I'll try because a lot of videos are there. Size will be huge. I'll check if I can share this.
Okay, all right.
And I also thank my friends who are in from my network. Today morning he shared, and some of them they have joined. I'd like to sincerely thank them for joining this session. Okay, if there are no questions, probably we can wrap it up. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Quite an informative and insightful presentation, Dr. Sundar. So nice of you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Yeah.
Sir, excellent presentation. Nicely you have explained the design thinking concepts. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much.